All right. Wednesday night, 7:01 p.m. As always, it's time for the South Carolina Normal Cannabis Conversation. So we're going to give it a minute or two, let some folks kind of join in with us here, and then we'll get started. But as always, I'll kind of start things off with our disclaimer that all of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the purchase, sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. We do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. Also, at this point, we always like to kind of mention to don't forget to follow us on our social media. It is at SC Normal on Twitter and Instagram. And you can search South Carolina Normal on YouTube. Please make sure you watch our YouTube to and click that bell button so that you can be notified when the South Carolina Normal Cannabis conversation is starting. Also, at this time, I always like to throw in there this little oh, where'd that button go? Please don't forget to visit our website, scnormal.org. Click the About Pay drop down. You will find a link to our sponsors page and support our sponsors because they help support what we do in trying to reform marijuana laws here in South Carolina. All right, let me kind of click this one off. And real quick, I see here in comments, we have Ina here with us. Welcome, Ina. Thank you for joining us. We have a great program for you this evening, I believe. I keep clicking these wrong buttons here. Before we get to our first trivia question of the night, a little intro and agenda for the evening. As you all may know, my name is Scott Weldon. I am the Executive Director of the South Carolina chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, also known as NORML. And this is the South Carolina Normal Cannabis Conversation. On the agenda tonight, I find this going to be, I'm going to say, pretty exciting. Let me share my screen here, see if I can do this the right way. There it is. We have Representative Deon Tedder with us here this evening, and we are going to talk a little bit about House Bill 4610, we kind of refer to it as the cannabis smell bill, but basically a bill that the scent of cannabis is not probable cause or reasonable suspicion for a search or seizure or arrest. And we'll get into that in just a moment, but a very exciting conversation. And Representative Tedder will be on with us here in just a moment. Let me click this button off again. And before we bring the representative in, let me real quick hit our first trivia question, because that's kind of what we do in the beginning of our program. This is a history category question. It is a 40-point question. During World War II, the United States government gave prisoners marijuana to produce what symptoms? Was it hallucinate, confession, paranoia, or truth serum? History category, 40 points. During World War II, the U.S. government gave prisoners marijuana to produce what symptoms? Hallucinate, confusion, paranoia, or truth serum? Usually at this point, I just kind of mentioned, if you, our business, want to promote your business through South Carolina Normal, you can always sponsor our trivia questions. And with that, let's get you the answer to this one this evening. What is the answer to this history category 40 point? Anybody put an answer in the comments? Let me check before I go. And one more time, during World War II, the U.S. government gave prisoners marijuana to produce what symptoms? Hallucinate, confusion, paranoia, or truth serum? Okay, no answers in the comment section. We're going to go ahead and hit that right away. It was used as a truth serum. No lie. All right, I think I'm funny. All right. Let me kind of click my buttons back here again. I'll bring this back up. I am thrilled to have with us tonight Representative Deon Tedder. I'm going to click through a couple of things as I do a real brief introduction. Representative Tedder is Representative District 109, Charleston and Dorchester counties. I believe there's been some redistricting, and maybe he can tell us why there's the special election, but I believe that's what it is for. He's currently running in the special election for Senate District 42, again, Charleston and Dorchester counties, and also the sponsor of House Bill 4610. I can share the link with that one with you in the chat here real quick. There we go. If you'd like to take a read through that. But we're going to talk to the representative about all this fun information tonight. And so, if you will, welcome, join me in welcoming Representative Deon Tedder to the program. Good evening, Representative Tedder.
Good evening. How are you? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having me this evening.
We are thrilled. What I guess inspired me to reach out to you is because, and let me bring this back up on the presentation screen, your campaign page. What caught my attention, folks, if you visit Representative's page, it is deontedder.com. And I was scrolling through and I happened to get down to Representative Tedder's priorities: education, affordable housing, and criminal justice. And in that first description on criminal justice, mentioned sponsoring a bill to prohibit the stop and search of individuals based solely on the scent of cannabis, of marijuana. And at that point, I did kind of look out the other candidates in that race to see if anybody else had anything along those lines as their priorities in the on their pages or anything, and I did not really see much along those lines. And so that caused me to reach out to your representative and kind of, I guess, ask if you could give us a little bit of an overview of the House Bill 4610 and its main objective in context of criminal justice reform.
Yes. And so this bill, House Bill 4610, essentially what it does is it simply states that the smell and or odor of marijuana alone, whether raw or burnt, does not give an officer probable cause or reasonable suspicion for a search, seizure, or arrest. And the reason behind that is I'm a criminal defense attorney. Well, that's what I do in my full-time career. But in handling a lot of cases, what you start to see is a pattern. And I can probably tell you upwards of, I'd say more than probably 75% of the cases that I look at, whenever there's a stop and an arrest made after that, it's always a line in the police report that says, upon approaching the vehicle, I smelled a strong odor of marijuana. And that right there, that magic phrase is enough to allow them to search your vehicle, whether there's a smell of marijuana or not. And so the reason behind bringing this bill is that as an attorney, I can't argue one way or the other whether an officer smelled marijuana because it's subjective. And so I don't think that that's fair, one, and I think that subjects to a lot of people to unreasonable searches and seizures. Now, going a little bit further with that, why now? Because as you know, in South Carolina, I mean, hemp is legal. We have hemp farms, Delta 8 shops, Delta 9. And so that gave me a reason to bring this about, because if you're legally traveling in your car with Delta 8 product, with hemp flower or Delta 9, that's legal, and you should not be subject to a search just because it smells similar to something that may not be legal.
Thank you. Yeah, you kind of answered my second question on that. I was going to be asking you if there was any sort of evidence or data that you base this on, and you say 75% of or so of the clients that come in or of stops. There's usually that line in there that says, "I smell marijuana."
Right, and then also to your question about the data, I mean, just in 2018, because I brought this bill about initially in 2021, I think it was 3628, and I actually got a subcommittee hearing on it where we got to hear from law enforcement why they didn't like it. But the ACLU, based on their statistics, South Carolina in 2018 had the second highest marijuana possession arrest rate in the nation. And that's another reason, as far as data, why I think this bill is so important.
Now, racial disparities, you mentioned the ACLU report of 2018, which I believe is called The Tale of Two Countries. And racial disparities are a significant concern in criminal justice, as reported in that report. Could you elaborate on the potential benefits of the bill for individuals that might otherwise be disproportionately impacted by low-level cannabis-related arrests?
Yes, because in the majority of the people that you see stopped and searched in this line, this magic phrase of "I smelled marijuana" used, is particularly men of color, African American males, and overwhelmingly. And what you see is a lot of times they don't find the drugs in the car because oftentimes there's not marijuana. But what that does is it allows them to get into the vehicle because they may sense that you look suspicious sometimes based on your color. And so they may find other things. But when the stop was simply for, you didn't signal or you were speeding, they should simply receive a ticket for that and let them go. But this magic phrase allows them to, what I call, go on a fishing expedition.
I was going to say, sort of to allow them to just circumvent the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution and say, now we're going to just search your vehicle. We cross our fingers, we're going to find something. We've talked about this in our program before. I've seen some data which talks about police dog searches. And
Mhm.
when the dogs indicate, only about 20% of the time is anything ever found. The other 80% of the time, nothing is found.
Yeah.
And so now my thoughts would be with the uncertified nose of a police officer, there's probably finding something even less often.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I've questioned officers many times in these preliminary hearings and say, well, where is your, did you go to school? Did you have any professional training or any courses that would train your nose to the scent of illegal THC and marijuana? And they always say no, but just based on their training. But then again, you can't differentiate just from the smell when you have hemp and Delta 8, Delta 9. And even beyond that, say you're at somebody's home and you're surrounded by people that were smoking. That could get in your clothes, and that in itself is not illegal. And so you still, I believe, should be free from an unreasonable search.
100% agreed. What role do you see your bill playing in reducing the burden on the criminal justice system, such as freeing up resources for more serious offenses and improving overall efficiency and community relations?
I think this would be very helpful if you, I mean, just going back to the fact that we were the second highest in the nation. That says a lot. A lot of our resources are used for marijuana possession and smell arrest. And so I think if we can free that up, we would reduce a lot of strain on our law enforcement officers and allow them to, go and search for more serious crimes, violent offenses that are taking place in our state. And particularly like Maryland. I mean, they even have gone to the point where they don't arrest people anymore for marijuana. It's simply a civil fine if it's a possession. In South Carolina, simple possession is if you possess 28 grams or less. I believe that we should get to the point, and this is not addressed in this bill, but it's something that I would look into and may even file, and just having it where we don't even arrest people for a simple possession. It's a civil offense, you get a civil fine and you pay it. I think that would free up our system. A lot of people that are being held in jail due to marijuana possession. It's overwhelming here in South Carolina.
One of our viewers here tonight, DJ Gamecock, is on. He says thank you for joining us, and he follows up with being number two in arrests is unacceptable. ACL, you also mentioned that the South Carolina wastes about 100 million annually enforcing those cannabis laws. So I guess he believes that that would definitely free up some resources financially as well. Um, Now, beyond addressing the cannabis smell, what other aspects of criminal justice reform do you believe are important to South Carolina? Are there other policies or initiatives that you plan to support in this area?
Yes, and so we, outside of just the odor and the smell, dealing with probable cause, I was very vocal and a huge advocate for medical cannabis, the bill that we had in the House. And that was my first term in the House being elected. And I was on that committee that passed it out of full committee, the 3M committee. And so just really trying to get my colleagues across the aisle to understand the importance of what cannabis, the benefits of cannabis, particularly medical cannabis. So I'll continue to advocate for that. And then also, I mean, just in criminal justice reform in general, mandatory minimums. I'm not a fan of those. I think we did some sentencing reform. I think we need to go a little further. I mean, there's a lot in the criminal justice realm that I'm passionate about just because it's what I do every day. And so I see the unintended consequences when we pass legislation that really ends up hurting and harming people. Because what people don't understand is, I mean, as soon as you get arrested, that's a whole ripple effect. You lose your job. And then if you lose your job, you can't afford to pay where you live, and then you lose your home, and then you have children. I mean, it's a ripple effect for something as minor as possessing a joint or, just having a gun in the wrong place, like unlawful carrying, because we don't do a good job at educating our citizens on what the laws do and what they mean.
Yes, and I think I did see in some of my research, some of the sentencing reform documentation, and it is especially. I've had people come to me in certain cases. A young mom who told me that she had to do 30 days in jail because an officer found the stained piece of paper in the bottom of her pocketbook that was, possibly from a joint or something, but it was just stained paper, but tested positive. Another gentleman told me 30 days in jail for a seed in his ashtray. Um,
Mm.
Much harsher consequences than the consequences of consuming the substance itself. And the other thing, and we don't talk about this, I don't think, enough on our program, but I've gotten calls a number of times from um, young moms and moms to be who have consumed CBD and hemp product, and I guess for some reason or another had been tested by Children's Services and then either charged with uh, child abuse if they were pregnant or child neglect if the child had already been born. And again, these moms are going, it's something I bought at the local CBD that shop down the street. So mention the shop, I know the location, and the torment that they have to go through, especially when they're in a time in their lives when they're already kind of probably stretched to their limits with a young one.
Right.
That the punishments seem to be untenable. We promote a no fine, no time, no court cost type of decriminalization, but we understand if there would be, let's say, a civil citation and a small fine that would be attached to it, would be a lot more acceptable than the misdemeanor crime that it is today in South Carolina, we believe.
Yeah. And I like that. I'm all for no penalty, no fine. I just know here in South Carolina, where we can't even pass medical cannabis, I think we have to take small steps to get there. But I totally support what you're doing. Um, a lot of states are moving that way now, and I think you know we always seem to be last when it comes to doing something that's beneficial to people. But that's a reason. That's another reason why I'm in the legislature, to try to combat that and speak up for our people. But I'm totally all for the decriminalization of marijuana. I think there are so many larger issues out here that we need to be focused on.
Well, with that said, what are some of the most significant challenges you see in getting a cannabis smell bill passed, and how do you plan to address the opposition on its skepticism?
Really, just having those conversations. And so, what I plan to do this next session, when we go back in January, is try to get a roundtable discussion, because when I got this bill and I had to do some work to just even get a subcommittee hearing, because it's in the Judiciary Committee, and when we did that, we were able to hear testimony, and law enforcement testified that of course they believed it would allow criminals to escape, and we're just going to have criminals on the street, and now that takes away a tool for officers to do their job. And my response to that is, what this bill does, it does not. One of the misconceptions before I go there is that people think that, or at least law enforcement think, this bill will say it's okay for people to drive around high and intoxicated, right, and under the influence. That is not what this bill does. And I explained that to them. I said, what this does is takes away your tool to simply say you smelled marijuana in order to get in somebody's car. If an officer pulls you over, and if they believe you are under the influence, whether it's alcohol or a narcotic, they then have the right to do they can subject you to a DUI stop, do field sobriety tests, go through the proper protocol. Because as an attorney, whenever that person may be arrested, their lawyer, this is what we can do. We can watch the video from the field sobriety test. We can see whether or not the person failed. And also, if they, do the breathalyzer or what have you, those are factual things. Those are objective that we can defend you on. We can't just simply defend saying whether or not somebody smelled something. And so that doesn't take away their option to ensure that people are driving safely. That's not what this bill does. And so I think just really getting law enforcement to understand that this does not go that far. It simply takes away that magic language to allow them to, basically break your Fourth Amendment right. But yeah.
I appreciate your answer on that, because we talk about this from time to time here on the podcast, and they still, if they believe you're intoxicated, they can tell. There should be intoxication tests. I mean, I know they've talked about testing for THC in somebody's system. Yeah, you can test for it, and they could pop up positive, but it does not indicate impairment.
Right.
And there's the rub. So there should be some sort of impairment testing for people. Are they unsafe to drive? Are they incapable of driving? And I would assume that the impairment test that they use for alcohol, tilt your head back, touch your nose, walk the line, should all be sufficient for that type of testing.
Absolutely. And I think if we get that message across, and not just to law enforcement, but to my colleagues on the other side who are skeptical, because that's what law enforcement is going to tell them. This is going to let people drive around high and under the influence. That is not what this does. And so I think it's just a matter of explaining that. And that's what I plan to do, having a roundtable and more discussions on that. And I'd love to partner with y'all to have more discussions on it going forward, trying to push this legislation.
Absolutely. With that in mind, just this week we announced our press conference and lobby day at the State House, which will be on January 24th, a Wednesday. Just wanted to sort of throw that out there, plant the seed. If you'd like to be there with us and maybe be one of our speakers, talk about your bill at that point, we'll kind of be in touch over the next couple months as we approach that date.
Okay.
Well, let me follow up with another question real quick, if I may. And this is something I'm hoping we can get an answer that might sort of include all of us. The question as it's written is what steps can be taken, but I almost want to change it. What steps can be taken by all of us that can help build bipartisan support for the bill and to address any of this potential opposition? Uh,
And really what I just spoke to sort of answers that. As far as building bipartisanship, I think it's simply just explaining what the bill doesn't do, and trying to, you have to take out and attack the misconceptions about the bill, because people will do that. And at least in my experience, I've known people will try to tag all kinds of things on a bill. And the problem is you have a lot of people that serve in the General Assembly that don't take the time to read the bills. Um, and so they don't know, they just know what they're told. And so really just an effort of educating. I think educating is a huge thing, really explaining, breaking down what the bill actually does and what it doesn't do. And I truly believe that once law enforcement, and I don't know if they'll ever get on board or not, but I do think at least my colleagues on the other side, um, if they know that this doesn't take away an officer's, tools to determine whether somebody's under the influence, I think this is it's a reasonable bill, and it should be something that they can agree to on it. Particularly, and also what we need, and where you all out there watching can help, is if we have people. I love to talk to people. If you've been pulled over before, and searched because an officer said they smell marijuana and they didn't find anything. Because I think those stories are important to show people. Or if they did find something and it was Delta 8 or hemp or Delta 9 or something that was a legal substance, but your time and your privacy was violated because of simply that smell or the creation of a smell. And I think those stories are important because it's real people going through what I'm trying to prevent here in this bill.
Excellent, wonderful. We'll actually sort of share that out to our base as well. That if folks have stories they'd like to share, you'd like to hear them. Um, Absolutely. Let me kind of take a quick peek here. Um, One last question about this, I believe, is as a state representative, how do you plan to advocate for and promote comprehensive criminal justice reform um, beyond the specific bill?
Yeah. So beyond this, like I said, criminal justice reform is one of the top three things on my platform since I first ran in 2019. And what I plan to do is just, how I get my bills is really just real life scenarios. It's mostly by me going to court, and I'm in a situation with a client, or I just see something in the courtroom, and I see a judge hands being tied because they want to rule one way, but they can't because of the way the law is written, or a prosecutor wanting to uh, offer a reasonable deal, but they can't because of the way a statute is written. Or even just talking to people and they tell me stories about how they were, you know, unreasonably or illegally arrested. That's how I get my ideas. Really, it's real life things that people go to, and so I'm just trying to fix those things, and I'll continue to introduce those bills. I think we have to do something when it comes to like I was saying, unlawful carrying of a weapon is a lot of people just simply don't know where they can legally carry their weapon in their vehicle. And a lot of times, what I've seen, and this is directly related to this bill, really, because what officers will do is they will get a inkling that because of the way somebody is presenting themselves, that they may be involved in criminal activity. I'm just going to call it how it is, but they use that "I smell marijuana," knowing that they don't smell it. But most times they'll find a weapon which is legally registered, legally owned, but the person just simply has it in the wrong place. They're not doing anything criminally related or anything violent. A lot of people just don't know. And so you get a lot of people charged with that and arrested, and then you get a gun charge. There you go. You lose your job. You can't, then you lose housing. It's that ripple effect that I'm trying to prevent. But just pushing legislation like that, trying to really de-escalate those things and decriminalize marijuana and legalize medical cannabis.
All right. I appreciate your time this evening. Some great answers. You definitely know that our organization and our supporters support your bill. Um, as we were talking before about how to maybe some other steps, we often ask our supporters to contact their legislators in their districts. And as we get closer to um, the session starting in January, we will be posting an action alert so folks can contact their representatives to ask them, for a hearing on this in committee and try and move your bill forward. And you know, see what we can do to sort of help protect the people of South Carolina.
Right. No, thank you. I appreciate it. I look forward to working with you all. And yeah, I mean, anyone want to reach out, feel free to reach out to me. My website, deontedder.com, or you can email me at Deon, DEON, at deontedder.com.
All right. Well, I wanted to say good luck on the district special election coming up
Yes.
November 7th, if I remember
No,
correctly.
September 5th is my special election.
Oh, September 5th is
Yeah.
is the special election. And
So that's
early voting is already going on that, I believe,
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. Early voting started last week. It's Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, because of this storm that's brewing outside now, there will not be early voting tomorrow on Thursday. However, it will resume Friday. So Friday from 8:30 to 5, you can vote early. If you're in Charleston County, you vote at the Voter Election Commission on 4340 Corporate Road. If you live in Dorchester County and you're within Senate District 42, you would vote at Trident Tech. And then on Tuesday, September 5th, everyone can vote at their normal precincts. And just for those that don't know, Senate District 42 covers downtown Charleston, North Charleston, up to a little bit past Ashley Phosphate, and West Ashley as well. So if you live in that area, look me up, check out my website. Would appreciate your support.
We absolutely thank you for your time and appreciate you sharing this information with us. I will definitely be in touch. I'll follow up with you an email probably in the next day or so.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Have a nice evening. All right, folks, there you have it. Everything we can do to help the representative move forward with this legislation, we're going to try to do that. So we're looking forward to that now. Let's go ahead and take a quick break here. We'll get into our second trivia question. While I'm doing that, if you do have any questions and want to throw them in the comment section or send your thoughts on the need of a smell bill and or excuse me, or if you have a story to tell and you want us to pass that information along, drop it in the chat there. Let me get a quick. Get a quick sip, trying to calm my throat down. Okay, this one is a 30-point question in the music category. What musician sings these lyrics? Oh man, I think you're all going to know this one. 30-point question, music category. What musician sings these lyrics? So let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint. Was that George Harrison, David Bowie, or Tom Petty? What musician sings these lyrics? So let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint. George Harrison, David Bowie, Tom Petty. Give it a second, see if anybody has a comment on that one, see if they know. I'm thinking most of you will. Of course, me, I know, like I watch Jeopardy pretty regularly, and some nights I'm on it and I know, and other night my brain just does not work. I know the answer, but I just can't connect it and get it out of my mouth. And all right, and there we have it. I knew you'd kind of give us that answer. DJ Gamecock in with Tom Petty. That is the correct answer. All right, let me slip that one back here into the box. I've got one more if I remember for later. If I remember. All right. Well, that was a great conversation. I gotta say, I'm thrilled. Um, I don't know what had me kind of looking at that. Oh, I do know what had me looking at that, but it's not, it's kind of irrelevant at the moment. But when I saw that, I thought, what a great opportunity to ask a legislator to kind of talk about a cannabis reform bill here on the program, because he is running in this special election. Um, Gave him a good reason to want to do some publicity, I suppose. Um, and definitely, I follow Representative Tedder on social media, like his position and track. So you vote how you vote, but if I were in District 42, I would be probably voting for Representative Tedder. So, my opinion. All right, let's see here. Oh, well, let me throw that comment up here real quick, just because it kind of sounds kind of interesting. DJ says, I recall Petty actually lit up a joint on stage during his last concert at the North Charleston Coliseum. Oh, really? I hope North Charleston police didn't come running in and haul him off. You know my phrase, come from vacation, go home on probation. Uh, Welcome to Charleston, North Charleston, South Carolina. Oh, that's great. That's great. All right, let me kind of change things on my other screen here so it doesn't distract me too much. Uh, what was I going to talk about? Oh, I know what I was going to kind of talk about if the conversation with the representative didn't take the whole hour, and I was hoping it didn't, but sometimes I can ramble on pretty long. Um, But I did want to talk a little bit about some things moving forward. As you may recall, last week I had announced that VP had stepped down from her position on the board, and it sort of has had us rethinking and reevaluating some of our efforts and what we can and cannot do, where we want to sort of focus our efforts. Um, with that said, we're trying to focus on sort of I'm going to say kind of two things. One, as I mentioned earlier in the program, talking with Representative Tedder, we have announced January 24th, 2024 will be our press conference, lobby day, and rally. This is how we're going to plan it this year, not just a press conference and lobby day, but try to then include a rally. We believe an actual rally on the steps outside the State House will help us bring a larger showing. Um, as you know, what we have been doing in the past couple of years is we've been reserving the inside lobby space for our press conference, primarily as a protection from weather more than anything else, because we can't predict the weather on a particular day this far away. And I'd hate to try and do something outdoors in the rain for that portion of it. Then what we were doing in the past couple of years is after the press conference ended, um, our board members would try to then escort those of you who signed up to go talk to your representatives to their representative's office, whether they're House representative or senator, and do either a quick sit down with that representative, or if they were unable to actually schedule an appointment to meet with the constituent, we would stop by their office and just drop off a note from the constituent and some info from us, with the constituents' comments on supporting marijuana law reform. What I'd like to try and see us do with it in 2024 is, as we break from the press conference indoors, possibly reserve the front steps outdoors, very similar to one of the other rallies that we were out up there in February this year. Did out on the front steps. Some of the many of you that are on the call I see with me this evening were at that event, and I think that might be, again, a way to draw a larger constituency out, and a way for the folks that basically came to our past two press conferences, holding up signs with us there to show support, had some action for them to do after the press conference, and that's to participate in the rally itself outdoors. In the February rally that was hosted by our friend Shane, I had a great time. We went down to the street. We're holding up signs. We were up on the steps. We're, shouting out on DJ Josh's PA system, some of our slogans. Got a couple of great pictures from the day, and we're just present. And I think if we had a larger showing, if I remember, did it rain that day? But if we could get the crowd, I mean, there's some folks over on Twitter that got me kind of amped up a couple of days ago, and saying, this is what we need to show this big crowd of marijuana supporters in another state. This is what we need here in South Carolina. And I sort of did you wish, we wish, we would actually, I think that was my comment. We wish we could find that many supporters to come out and join us at a rally in South Carolina. And then I said, screw it, let's do this. So I don't know. We're going to try and get it on the schedule a little bit early. I'm going to tell you to mark your schedule, mark your calendar, send a note into your boss requesting the day off, so that you can be there with us. It's months away. You should be able to schedule a day off from then, I hope. Hopefully y'all can make it. Come on out, because I've been saying for a long time, the more people that we get out to represent, the better chance we have of our legislators actually listening to us and hearing us. We know there's legislation in our state house to decriminalize. I think there's 3 bills. I don't have my documents in front of me. We know there's medical marijuana legislation. It's not just the Compassionate Care Act. There's others, but that's the one that's moving forward. We know there's a bill to actually, in essence, deschedule at the state level, legalize, by Mia McLeod. There is legislation out there. It's just a matter of trying to get that legislation acknowledged by the committee that it's been assigned to, and then given a hearing in that committee, and hopefully a vote to move it forward. Politics is, I don't know. It's frustrating. Sometimes I think it's a distraction from from being able to do the right thing. But it is what it is. It's how we're governed. It's how we're ruled here in the United States and in South Carolina. As Representative Tedder said, he'd be willing to have uh, a decrim bill at state level, which I know there are a few, and if we could get maybe those legislators all to sign on to one, and give that one support, and then try and get bipartisan support across the aisle for that one decrim bill, that one bill that says no fine, no time, no court cost, or like I said, most to me. And even then, I'd hate to see the $25 or $100 ticket. Just because my opinion is, once you attach money to it, that is sort of the switch that links you into the system. Then, if they confiscate your weed and tell you get out of here, and there's no fine, there's no time, there's no citation, there's no court cost, you don't get linked into the system. And getting linked into the system is what sort of then triggers those residual consequences, at least at this point. And so we know that legislation kind of stuff is out there. Now, to help us kind of move in that direction, and I've talked about this a couple of times over the past few weeks. I'm going to pop it up on my screen here real quick. I have put together what am I calling it here? A spread the word advocacy pack. Let me see if I can get this to share. This is over on our website. I don't know if this. Oh, that's a horrible picture. Anyway, inside the pack includes 6 of our brochures. Each of those brochures includes a copy of the NORML Foundation Freedom Card The Freedom Card is intended to assist you in invoking your civil rights as protected by the U.S. Constitution. Keep one of these brochures, Freedom Cards, for yourself and give the other 5 to loved ones or friends that you wish to keep safe. That is 6 brochures. Also included in the Spread the Word Advocacy Pack, we are including 26 of our new Nobody Should Be Arrested for Simple Cannabis Possession QR codes. Cards. QR code cards. Code card. Yeah, that. These things, 26 of them. Keep one of these for yourself. And then try and give a stack of 5 to 5 different businesses in your community, maybe sit next to the register. I like the idea of setting them up this side up, but maybe you want to set them that side up. But if you could get 5 different businesses in your community, and they don't need to be cannabis related businesses, but if you could get 5 businesses in your community to put a couple of these cards right next to your register, to their register, that's 5 more people per store, 25 people total that you might be able to contact in your community and let them know that South Carolina exists and is fighting for their rights and working toward reforming marijuana laws. And where did I put it? I guess I have to pull one out of this pack. Oh, this pack will pull out. Also included in that massive little, or that envelope that we're going to send you, 50, 48. That's it, 48 of our stickers, 2-inch by 3-inch vinyl stickers that proclaim South Carolina NORML, working to reform marijuana laws, and our website. Our thought with the stickers was, hey, share these as you think best. Maybe offer some of them to the people that you gave those freedom cards to, those people you want to protect. Give them a couple of stickers. And maybe offer some of those stickers to those businesses that you're dropping the QR code. Nobody should be going to arrested cards at. Share them out. Spread the word. Stick them on your forehead. Maybe somebody will kind of notice it and ask you about what's going on with it. And you can tell them about South Carolina NORML. Spread the word. Then maybe they'll show up at our rally on the 24th of January, 2024. And just because of you, we might get an extra 25 or more people. I mean, 50 stickers, 25 cards. That's 75 people there. Maybe they'll all show up to our rally. Could you imagine if a bunch of you shared these things? All right. So the deal is, let me see if I can scroll up here. I don't know if you guys can read this, if you can see my little mouse moving around this part. 2 parts. One says free, and yet one says $5. Down here, though, it says free. Just pay the shipping. But only 1 free packet per order. Shipped to South Carolina addresses only. We're really only looking to promote this within our state. We want people in our state to know about this. So if you drop one of these into your shopping cart and you go to check out, it's going to be 0 plus shipping. 0 cost plus shipping, even though it says $5 on here. It'll automatically default to give you 1 free. But if you add 2 of them to the packet, it's going to charge you $5, 1 for free and 1 for $5 plus your shipping. So you can get extras if you want. Or I even have it down kind of mentioned here. If you get the free one, pay the shipping, but you also want to maybe help us contribute a little bit to help us cover our shipping costs so we can keep the supply rolling and send them out across to more people. During the checkout process, there's an option to leave a tip. So those have gone, I believe, live. They are in our shop cart right now. I believe I'll be able to correctly set it up for the one shipping method that we have for it, which is USPS priority mail. The system was trying to give an option for UPS, but we don't ship UPS because UPS doesn't pick up at my door like the mailman does. So anyway, a little bit part of being lazy as a volunteer. But anyway, spread the word packs, advocacy packs are out there on our website. You'll have to go into the shop to find them because they're not promoted on the front page yet. They probably will get popped up there for a little bit. 1 free pack per customer, please. Mind you, if like down the road though, you see you've gone through them and there's no more left in any of the places you dropped them, order a second free pack, a month later or something. Just don't go crazy. We're willing to share this because we want to get the word out there. We need the word out there. We need people to support marijuana law reform in South Carolina and be able to be vocal about it and mention it to their legislators. And you wouldn't believe the number of times I'm out and about wearing my normal shirt with real huge on the back, working to reform marijuana. And people look at me and go, I didn't know there was a normal chapter in South Carolina. So I'm counting on y'all to kind of help me out. Go and order yourselves an advocacy packet here, one of the spread the word packs. Um, and we're going to start promoting these in the next couple of days. Actually, today we're starting with you right here, right now. Um, and let's start spreading the word. Get these cards out there. People can scan the QR codes. They can go to our website. Actually, they'll go to this link tree type site, which will give them a whole bunch of links and options to do. They can sign up to our newsletter. They can join. They can go to our coming events. There will be one tab on there coming in the next week or three about the week or two or something about our lobby day and rally. So when you get a chance, stop out to scnormal.org. Order yourself a free advocacy pack. And that is for, I don't see DJ Josh on at the moment, though I know he told me I saw him post he was spending the hurricane on a boat. So good luck. I hope he's fine. He said I should do the packs for free. I was thinking charging a couple of bucks. So split hairs here. One free. If anybody wants to buy extras or leave us a tip. There we go. All right, let me take a peek here. I'm just asking how Folly's holding up. And being on the call here, I haven't really had a chance to check. We're pretty concerned about erosion on the beach. Very rarely do storms drop any new sand on the beach. We do know that there's a beach renourishment program already scheduled, I believe, for October. But yeah, our fear is whatever beach is there at the moment is going to be freaking wiped out. So we've got our fingers crossed for folks down on Folly. Sounds pretty quiet outside my window at the moment. I heard there was a tornado hit just down the street from me on my street, down toward the harbor, Charleston Harbor. I took my earplug out because really windy earlier. My wind chimes were clanging out pretty busy. Now they seem to have calmed down out there. All right, and we have a low country driving tip for after the storm. When you come to an intersection with lights not working and there are cars in all directions, what's the rule for the right of way? Cheapest car goes first. Not the squattest. All right, good one. I like that. Oh, look at the time. I rambled on about Lobby Day and spread the word advocacy pack for pretty much the rest of the show. And guess what I got in my hands here? I'll clear the screen. The third and final trivia question. I think it was the first week in a couple of months that I've gotten through all three of these. I get distracted sometimes. I'll blame it on undiagnosed ADHD or something like that. Culture is the category. 30-point question. In South Africa, Sotho women believe that burning the cannabis flower aids them in what process? Is that childbirth, menstrual cycle, or stomach pains? That is the Sotho of South Africa. In South Africa, Sotho women believe that burning the cannabis flower aids them in what process? Is that childbirth, menstrual cycle, or stomach pains? If you've got an answer, throw it there in the comment section. As I mentioned earlier in the program, if you would like to sponsor and promote your business, sponsor a trivia question, reach out to us through our website, scnormal.org, and click the contact page button. Oh, come on, dude. He made it. Joey's here. Final trivia question. He made it for the final trivia question. I don't even know if he heard it. I'm just getting ready to log off. But Oh, thrilled to have you here. Uh, all right. You know it's not a party till Joey shows up. All right, so let me get back to that final trivia question. Culture is the category 30-point question. In South Africa, pseudo women believe that burning the cannabis flower aids them in what process? Childbirth, menstrual cycle, or stomach pain? And the answer is childbirth. Probably relaxing. I'm hoping that's the answer. Anywho, all right. Joey's going to roll back. Joey, would have loved to have you here. Had a great conversation with Representative Deon for the first half of the program. Second half of the program, talked a little bit about our, and I think you already know, January 24th, 2024, our lobby day press conference and a rally. We're going to call it a rally this year. I've avoided that for the past 2 years, but we're going to try to rally this year, January 24th, 2024. And I also mentioned to the crew out there, we are announcing, and I'll show it to you real quick, our spread the word advocacy packs out on our website. Go ahead and visit our web store. Free pack. It says $5, but if you just drop one of them in your cart, it's free plus shipping. So you will have to pay shipping. If you drop two in the cart, it only charges you for one because we're offering everybody one free. You'll also notice on the page there's sort of directions on how we hope you use these. Spread them out, give them to your friend, take some things to businesses, stick stickers all over, blah, blah, blah. Well, you'll learn a bit more about that if you like when you go back and watch the podcast. Dude, so thrilled you made it. That is really though it I have for tonight. Glad you all made it. Like I said, refocusing on lobby day and spreading the word. Those are our two big kind of things. Uh, let's see if we can kind of hit it. And as always, trying to look for a few more volunteers, new board member to kind of replace VP, who's going to be really hard to replace. She seems kind of like might be irreplaceable, or maybe that's just my fear rearing up. But it's going to be hard to find that caliber of person for that position. So it may take us a little while to fill those shoes. But beyond that, that's kind of all I got for you tonight. I am thrilled that the storm didn't knock us out of power or that I didn't lose internet because I did lose it earlier today, and we made it through. Thank you for being there. I look forward to seeing you again, as always, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. That's it for me. Have a great night, y'all. Good night.